Hey everyone, it's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. It's Wednesday, March 27th. Happy Hump Day. Hope you're doing awesome. And in this video, we're going to be discussing Germany officially legalizing today. We're going to be taking a look at Curaleaf. There's an interview with Boris, executive chairman, and he discusses the European market and how the company is positioned. Very, very bullish interview. It's very short. So we'll try to keep this video somewhere around 8 to 10 minutes as a sweet spot. And then at the end, we'll bring up the chart. It does look like we could see some explosive upside over the next few months. And I'll give my thoughts and opinions in terms of price action. As always, though, it's not financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only, my own thoughts and opinions and my analysis. And full disclosure, I do own Curaleaf in my portfolio. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. Also, if you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. Also, you can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And I also posted this on X. I'll be interviewing John Kuber, CEO of Nevi Brands, this Friday, March 29th. And that they're behind the Major Drink, so drinkmajor.com, the #1 beverage in the US. And they have John Bell as a director, a former board member and chair of Canopy Growth. If anybody does have any questions, please let me know, but you can have the bell notification turned on and you will receive a notification when that interview comes online. I'm going to try to get Curaleaf on and a bunch more interviews as well planned for the channel. Recently welcomed our daughter into the world. She's a couple months old, so it's been very, very busy. And some of these companies are definitely hard to get a hold of, especially now with a return to growth, as to quote Boris in one of his prior videos and interviews that I posted. They're very busy, just, heads down, executing, and all about execution right now. So I posted a video as well that Curaleaf bought a Canadian operator called Northern Green Canada and Eyes International Markets. And just before I posted this, about a little over a week ago, a couple of days before that, I posted that MSOs are going to become LPs and vice versa. And sure enough, a couple of days later, Curaleaf acquires a Canadian operator. So exactly what I predicted happened, but not to the degree that I expected. I think the mega merger phase is going to happen where we'll see mega mergers, like tier ones merge with another tier one in Canada. So, think of like a Curaleaf and a Tilray, or, a Cresco and an Aurora, or something like that, right? Vice versa. We're going to see mega mergers and blue chip phase. And the only time we can be confident that the blue chip phase is going to be close and soon happening will be when the U.S. legalizes, either through descheduling, similar to what Germany just did. If they remove it from the Controlled Substances Act and deschedule it, that it would effectively legalize it, or through Congress through legislation and bills, right? Which I think the most likely scenarios we follow in the footsteps of Germany over the next few years. I think rescheduling to Schedule 3 is going to happen very soon, this year for sure, likely by the end of April, if not, this year. I would say at some point in 2024, but I do believe that it's more than likely going to happen by the end of April. Maybe a month or two after that, but I think that's the most likely time frame based on what the charts are saying. And then in terms of the most likely scenario, I think they're going to approve Schedule 3. Then we'll get safe banking, uplisting in the NYSE and the NASDAQ. We'll get the big banks and Wall Street banks, institutions, hedge funds positioned, your JP Morgans, your Morgan Stanleys, your Goldman Sachs. Then they'll deschedule it. And I think it's the most likely scenario is what ultimately happens. But Germany's MJ legalization bill is officially signed into law and will take effect on Monday. And no, it is not an April Fool's joke. On April 1st, Monday, this will take effect. So it's a done deal. Monday is the day. Congratulations, Germany. And this is just the first of European markets to follow. And game theory playing out. It's just a domino going to continue to fall, and game theory playing out in more and more states in the U.S., more and more countries. This is great to see. So congratulations. Possession, social clubs, things like that will take effect. And then Pillar 2 will likely be at some point in 2025, more than likely in my opinion, if not 2026 at the latest. And then that'll be for profit. Right now, not for profit, and possession, that type of thing, social clubs. And then eventually it'll be for profit, where that's really going to be when things start to ramp up. And that's going to be great. It gets us by until the US legalizes and gets their what together. So here's the article from CNBC's Fast Money, or interview and post on X. A big win for MJ stocks as Germany moves to legalize MJ, and Curaleaf executive chairman Boris digs into the European market and how the company is positioned. And then shortly after this, we'll take a look at the chart as well, but it's only just under 3 minutes long. So I will play this, and then I'll give my thoughts and opinions as we go along.
Some estimates are that the German market could surpass $500 million by 2027. Can you put it into perspective for us in terms of comparing that to the size of various markets here in the U.S.?
Yeah, I think the closest thing to compare it to is the Florida market, medical market, because it's a very similar piece of legislation. If you look at Florida, Florida has about 4% penetration of their population, or about 25 million people. That's about a $2.5 billion market today. So the number is actually much, much higher. It's closer eventually to a $10 billion market.
And I've been saying for a while now that Florida is more than likely going to be the biggest market in the U.S. And then, yeah, Germany, double the population as Canada. There's over 400 million in Europe. This is going to be massive, right? And Curaleaf definitely has a big footprint in the European market. And I agree, this is definitely something that people are sleeping on. And it's rightly so, right? Because everybody's focused on the U.S. market, the biggest economy in the world. But really, if you look under the hood and really understand what's going on here, and then he talks about his institutional ownership as being listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange, just wait until they uplist to the U.S. major exchanges, more than likely the NASDAQ, but we'll keep going here.
In Germany, because of their 83 million people versus Florida's 25 million. Now, we don't expect that to happen overnight. These things take a while to ramp, but we do expect that the market should triple probably in the next 12 to 18 months.
And something to keep in mind as well is no news is good news at this point with regards to Florida, but we could see Florida on the ballot. They have until April 1st. So on Monday, the fun could continue into MJ stocks. If you look at Canopy, up like 300% in the last couple of weeks. And some of the gains that we've been seeing, monthly uptrends galore all over the place. Tons of things, Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Germany. We have excise tax potentially in Canada shifting to a percentage, which would add tens of millions of dollars to these companies' bottom lines. And that's not a coincidence that we're seeing rescheduling and to Schedule 3, the most likely scenario, and removal of 280E. It's all happening at the same time for a reason. And then Florida could potentially ignite the markets next week as well. So might be a little bit of a priced in, kind of scenario, but we'll keep an eye out for it. But that is going to be something to keep an eye out for next week as well. We'll continue on.
And then we'll continue to see growth after that.
Hey, Boris, it's Tim. You've made significant investment in Europe. And in fact, I think really much unlike your peers, I should say, in the U.S. A headline like we've had today and in Germany in the past would have moved your stock 15%, 20%, moved the whole industry. How do you explain the somewhat muted reaction to this? Because we're getting incremental news flow in the cannabis space, and I run a cannabis ETF, and your company is a core position. It seems as if the market is somewhat, thoughts?
I think there's a misunderstanding, first of all, let's be honest, that the bulk of the investors in the U.S. MSOs today still are retail investors, right? Large-scale institutions have not yet invested. We've only recently, since we've uplisted the TSX and now mainstream custodians are custodying our stock, we've only recently started marketing to large long-onlys, the BlackRocks, the Fidelities, the Capitals of the world. They're doing their homework. They haven't invested in the market at this point in time, at least in the U.S.
So just think about what he said there. The BlackRocks of the world. If you Google who runs the world, it's basically BlackRock, right? We're talking trillions and trillions of dollars. And this is an opportunity of a lifetime, truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where this will only ever be legalized once at the global level, and we get to front-run some of these institutions, right? So don't get too caught up in the day-to-day price action. Just know that we're still in the first inning here in MJ, and we have so much growth ahead, it's not even funny. And he continues to reiterate the fact that there's growth ahead, and I've never been more excited. I've never been more grateful and humbled to be alive and investing in this space and really taking advantage of this generational wealth. So just let that sink in as we wrap up here on this interview.
Stocks. So I think we're really driven by retail. Retail, through Robinhood, for instance, doesn't have access to foreign stocks. So you have to be a retail investor as an account at Schwab or Fidelity or one of these other brokers to actually invest in this particular space. And I think that's one of the reasons. There's a lack of education. And a lot of U.S. investors, particularly retail, don't really know the European market, right? We invested 3 years ago. We've probably put in almost $400 million between the acquisition. We have the largest footprint. We today have the largest vertical business in Europe. We're selling in Germany, the UK, and in Poland. We have a 23% share in Germany. So you can just imagine, obviously, we don't anticipate holding that kind of share forever, but with a market that's going to be a multi-billion-dollar market over the next, 2 to 3 years, we really hope to maintain a very large share. And we think we're going to be the biggest beneficiary, at least from the North American companies in Germany.
So that is absolutely huge, right? We know that Curaleaf is an absolute behemoth, and it's got it's got to start on international. It just acquired a Canadian operator as well, Northern Green Canada. So there's a lot to like here. Curaleaf's my second biggest position. I'm looking to add to it as well. Tilray being my first. If you haven't seen my entire MJ portfolio 2024 update, I give my entire portfolio with percentage breakdown as well for each allocation in my MJ portfolio. But I own a mix of picks and shovels, right? I own retailers in the U.S. and Canada. I own producers in the U.S. and Canada, ETFs. And there's going to be a lot of room for these companies to all succeed. So we want all boats to rise together, because rising high tide lifts all boats. Absolutely love that saying. But yeah, Curaleaf on the monthly time frame, we're gearing up. We're very close to breaking last month's high at 579, so that's key resistance, and it was actually a double top there from the high of September at 580. So that's going to be very, very strong resistance, and we're gearing up for the first ever in history an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross on CURLF on the OTC. So this is looking very, very bullish. We could potentially see that happen this month. And like I said, with Florida verdict, we'll find out if it's on the ballot here very, very soon next week. Germany legalizing excise tax in Canada, all this hype, banking reform potentially this year. We have rescheduling to Schedule 3 imminent. There's so many things. Pennsylvania, everything is just lining up perfectly. And if we can get over that key resistance there at 580, we have a lack until 790. So we could easily from there see another 35% of upside. And then from there, we basically have no resistance all the way up to $18 and the all-time high. So key support is now the low of this month at 379, a new monthly higher low, or in a monthly uptrend as well. So this is exactly what we want to see on Curaleaf and on in MJ as a whole. So this is looking very, very good. Like I said, in terms of the daily time frame, we're in a daily uptrend as well. We had a nice entry there at 475. That was a double bottom, 476. So if you didn't add on that entry, you could have entered there with a nice stop below that. That would have been a nice day trade or swing trade opportunity. Enter at 475 with a tight stop, and from there you could have entered on that double bottom, and you'd be now up 15%. So things are heating up, and I think this is just the beginning. I'm excited. Let me know in the comment section below if you're excited. Let me know what you think of this interview. But going in it there, it's Rod with Powell Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. Excited to see what next week brings, and I'll be continuing to provide coverage day in, day out as long as I am alive and on this earth. All right, have a great rest of your night. We'll see you again on the next video.